He raised his hand right there at the check-in counter, amid the boarding announcements echoing through Charlotte Douglas. When the diamond on my mother's ring scraped across my cheek, TSA was already yanking him backward. Someone yelled, "Ma'am, step back!" But I just held my phone up. Camera had been rolling since I saw Mother glance toward the security checkpoint. They thought a slap in an airport was just family business. I turned it into federal evidence. And then, I demolished their wedding plans, their scheme to take my home, right before their boarding time. My name is Renee Harper, and I'd spent 3 years making my 2-bedroom apartment in Westover into something that was finally, completely mine. The quartz countertops I'd installed myself gleamed under the pendant lights I'd chosen after comparing 47 different fixtures online. Every mortgage payment posted to my Brightline Mutual employee account like clockwork on the first of each month. The Home Docs folder on my laptop held every receipt, every warranty, every proof that this place belonged to nobody but me. I should have known Mother would try to take it. The text came on a Tuesday while I was reviewing loan risk assessments at work. Savannah needs somewhere to stay after the wedding. Just a few months while she and Tyler save up. I told her your second bedroom would be perfect. Not asked. Told. I stared at my phone screen, feeling that familiar tightness in my chest that always came with Diane Halpern's pronouncements. My mother had this way of making decisions about my life like she was still filling out my school enrollment forms. Sweet as honey when strangers were watching, sharp as winter air when we were alone. "That doesn't work for me," I typed back, then deleted it. Too soft. "No," I wrote instead. "Send." The phone rang within seconds. "Renee, don't be selfish." Her voice had that practiced disappointment she'd perfected over 32 years of motherhood. "Family helps family. After everything we've done for you." I said no, "Mother." "Roy wants to talk to you." My stepfather's voice boomed through the speaker before I could object. Roy Halpern believed in teaching lessons, in making sure people knew their place. "Your sister's getting married in Tampa next week. Least you can do is help out with the arrangements. We need you to cover the flights and hotels." "I already bought my own ticket and booked my room." "For the family, Renee, Savannah, Tyler, their friends. Use that credit of yours. You owe us that much after all the years we raised you." I looked around my office, at the risk assessment reports scattered across my desk, at the framed degree I'd paid for myself with loans I was still paying off. Raised me. They'd housed me until I was 18 and spent the rest of the time reminding me what a burden I'd been. "I'll see you at the wedding," I said, and hung up. The messages started immediately. Diane switching between guilt and rage. Savannah sending crying emojis and accusations of ruining her special day. Roy leaving voicemails about ungrateful daughters who forgot where they came from. I changed my flight to arrive at Tampa International at 6:45 a.m. on Friday, separate from their 11:30 arrival. Confirmed my single room at a different hotel. Set my credit cards to require facial recognition for any transaction over $50. Thursday night, I walked through my apartment, recording a video of everything. The hardwood floors I'd refinished during my vacation last year. The bathroom tile I'd regrouted myself. The second bedroom I used as an office, where absolutely no one would be staying after any wedding. The locks were schlag, standard pins, nothing special. I made a mental note to upgrade them when I got back from Tampa. Mother still had a spare key from when I'd had the flu 2 years ago. She'd made copies I knew because Savannah had let it slip once after too much wine. I pulled up the Home Docs folder one more time, checking that everything was password protected and backed up to the cloud. Mortgage documents, insurance papers, deed transfer from the closing. All of it proof that Renee Harper owned this place, not the Halpern family, no matter what promises Mother had made to my sister. They wanted me to pay for their way to Tampa. They wanted my apartment for Savannah. They wanted me to keep being the reliable older daughter who never said no, never fought back, never caused scenes. I zipped my carry-on and set my alarm for 4 a.m. They were about to learn how much I'd changed. The Friday morning chaos at Charlotte Douglas Airport wrapped around me like armor. Business travelers rushing past with their roller bags. families corralling children toward security, the endless loop of CNN on overhead monitors. I'd positioned myself at the check-in counter for American Airlines, knowing they'd have to pass through here for their 11:30 flight to Tampa. I saw them before they saw me. Roy bulldozing through the crowd, Diane following with her phone pressed to her ear, Savannah and Tyler dragging oversized luggage. The moment Diane spotted me, her face shifted into that practiced maternal smile. Renee, perfect timing. We need you to upgrade Savannah and Tyler to first class. Wedding gift. No! I kept my voice level, professional, the same tone I used to deny high-risk loan applications. Roy's face darkened. Don't be difficult. Not here. Final call for Flight 2187 to Tampa. The overhead speaker crackled. Just use your card. Savannah whined, mascara already smudging from the stress. You have all those points from work travel. My points. My card. My answer is no. That's when I saw it, the telltale twitch in Roy's jaw, the way his fingers flexed. I'd seen those signs in the parking garage 20 minutes ago when he'd been arguing with the attendant. My phone was already in my hand, and I swiped up to the camera, hitting record without looking down. You ungrateful! Roy's hand shot out, grabbing my upper arm hard enough to leave marks through my blazer. We're talking about your sister's wedding. Let go. I kept my voice steady, angling my phone to catch everything. Roy, just make her see reason, Diane said, reaching for my face in what probably looked like a maternal gesture to onlookers. Her diamond anniversary ring, the one she never stopped talking about, caught my cheek as Roy yanked me forward and then released me with a shove. The slap came fast. Roy's palm connected with the side of my face just as Diane's ring scraped across my cheekbone. The sound cracked through the check-in area like a gunshot. Security! An airline employee was already on her radio. We need TSA and airport police at Counter 7 immediately. Ma'am, step back. A TSA officer materialized, inserting himself between Roy and me. Another officer guided Roy several feet away while a Charlotte-Mecklenburg police officer approached with his hand on his radio. It's just a family disagreement, Diane stammered, her honey voice cracking. We're all flying to Tampa for my daughter's wedding. I need all parties to remain where they are, the police officer said. His badge read, Officer Martinez. Ma'am, are you injured? I lowered my phone carefully, making sure to save the video before answering. Yes, I need to document this. I touched my cheek, feeling the wet warmth where the ring had broken skin. This is ridiculous, Roy bellowed, but the TSA officer beside him shifted slightly, a clear warning to stay put. Officer Martinez took out his notebook. I need statements from everyone involved. Sir, you'll need to come with me. We have a flight. Not anymore, the TSA officer said flatly. You've been flagged for additional screening, and depending on the officer's report, you may be denied clearance. Savannah started crying. Real tears this time. You're ruining everything. My wedding is tomorrow. I turned to Officer Martinez. I want to file a report for assault and battery. I have video evidence, and I'm sure the airport cameras caught everything. I'll need the case number and a copy of the incident report. She's being dramatic. Diane tried, but witnesses were already approaching the officer, a businessman in a navy suit, a woman with 2 young children who'd been in line behind us. I saw him grab her and hit her, the woman said firmly. Right in front of my kids. Officer Martinez's radio crackled. Transport arriving at Terminal B, North Entrance. Sir, you'll need to come with us for processing, he told Roy. Ma'am, he addressed Diane. You'll need to provide a statement as well. I pulled out my phone again, this time opening my voice recorder. Officer Martinez, could I get your badge number and I'll need information on obtaining the CCTV footage through proper channels. Badge number 4782. The Victim Services Desk can help you with the records request. Are you flying out today? Yes, but not with them? I looked directly at Roy as security prepared to escort him away. And they won't be staying at my apartment when they get back either. The last thing I saw before walking to the restroom to clean my cheek and take photos was Savannah screaming at Tyler to do something, while Diane tried to explain to the gate agent why Roy couldn't make the flight. They thought a public slap would make me comply. Instead, I'd just gathered evidence for a restraining order. The airport bathroom fluorescent lights made the scratch look worse than it felt. I held my phone steady, taking photos from multiple angles, making sure the metadata would show 1147A, MEM, Charlotte Douglas International Airport. The thin red line across my cheekbone had already started to bruise at the edges. Roy's handprint on my upper arm was darkening too, visible even through the white cotton of my shirt where my blazer had shifted. I pulled out the victim assistance card Officer Martinez had given me and dialed Elena Brooks before I even left the stall. Brooks and Avery, Elena speaking. Elena, it's Renee Harper. I need you to file an ex parte protective order immediately. Elena and I had met at a professional women's networking event 2 years ago. She specialized in family violence cases, and we'd stayed in touch, though I'd never imagined I'd need her services. What happened? Roy hit me, at the airport, in front of TSA, police, dozens of witnesses. I have video, incident report number, officer badge numbers, everything. Are you safe right now? I'm in the secured area. They took Roy for processing. He's missing his flight. Good. North Carolina is one-party consent for recording. Did you get audio? Everything. Him grabbing me, demanding I pay for their trip, the slap, Diane scratching me with her ring, even got witnesses giving statements to police on video. Text me the case number. I'll pull the report as soon as it's filed. We'll petition for an emergency protective order today. No contact, minimum 500 feet. Surrender of any keys to your property. They have copies of my apartment key. Document that. Write down when they got it. Any witnesses to them having access. We'll demand surrender of all copies. Any threats. Check your email in 5 minutes. I ended the call and started forwarding everything. The video from the check-in counter. Screenshots of Diane's texts about Savannah moving into my apartment. The voicemails I'd been saving for months where Roy ranted about ungrateful daughters and what he'd do to teach me respect. My phone buzzed. Diane, you've destroyed your sister's wedding. When we get back, we're taking that apartment since you want to be selfish. Roy knows people at the bank. Screenshot. Forward to Elena. Savannah. I'm changing the locks on your apartment when we get home. Mom promised it to me and you know it. Screenshot. Forward. I dialed my phone carrier next. I need transcripts of all voicemails from these 2 numbers for the past 6 months, sent to this email for legal proceedings. Then the bank. This is Renee Harper, employee ID 78432. I need to flag my accounts for potential fraud attempts and require dual authentication for any access attempts. By the time I reached my gate, Elena had texted back, filing emergency petition now. Document any injuries with urgent care in Tampa. Keep all boarding passes, receipts. Building timeline showing pattern of coercion and escalation. They just gave us everything we need. I stopped at the Hudson News and bought a notebook. Sitting at my gate, I wrote down everything, the timeline, the quotes I remembered, the way other passengers had stepped back when Roy raised his hand, how the mother with 2 kids had shielded her children's eyes. My phone rang. Unknown. North Carolina number. Miss Harper, this is Deputy Williams with the Mecklenburg County Sheriff's Office. Officer Martinez forwarded your case. We'll need you to come in for a formal statement when you return. I'm flying back Sunday evening. Can we schedule for Monday morning? That works. Also, Mr. Halpern has been charged with simple assault and disrupting airport security. He's been released on his own recognizance with conditions not to contact you. I'm filing for a protective order as well. Good. That creates a stronger paper trail. Save all communications from any family members about this incident. After we hung up, I pulled up the public records request form for Charlotte Douglas. CCTV footage, incident reports, witness statements. I wanted everything. Another text from Diane. Your father would be ashamed of what you've become. My father. My real father, who died when I was 10, who left me his mother's engagement ring that Diane sold to pay for Savannah's sweet 16 party. I typed back for the first time in hours. I'm getting a restraining order against you and Roy. Do not contact me again. Do not come to my apartment. All communication goes through my attorney, Elena Brooks at Brooks and Avery. Then I blocked both their numbers and boarded my flight to Tampa. They wanted to take my home. Instead, I was about to take their freedom to come anywhere near it. The Tampa hotel room became my command center. I'd barely set down my bags when my phone started buzzing with blocked number calls. They'd figured out I'd cut off direct contact and were trying from Savannah's friends' phones, the hotel landline, even Tyler's mother's number. I let them all go to voicemail, then used an app to transcribe everything. Renee, this is your mother. Stop this nonsense immediately. We've already told Savannah she can have your apartment. Roy's cousin is a locksmith. Don't make this harder than necessary. Perfect. Conspiracy to commit breaking and entering. Documented. I unblocked Roy's number just long enough to call him back. My recording app running. He answered on the first ring. Finally came to your senses. Roy, I need to be clear. Are you planning to change the locks on my apartment? It's not your apartment anymore. Your mother promised it to Savannah. We invested in your education, your upbringing. That apartment is family property. The deed is in my name. I pay the mortgage. Doesn't matter. Diane already told Savannah she can move in after the honeymoon. We have keys. If you're going to be difficult, we'll handle it ourselves. So you're saying you intend to enter my property without permission and change the locks? I'm saying that apartment belongs to this family, and ungrateful daughters don't get to keep family property. I kept my voice steady, neutral. Just to clarify, you believe you have the right to take my apartment because you and Diane raised me. Damn right. Every dinner, every school supply, every doctor's visit. You owe us. Savannah needs that place, and we're taking it. Try to stop us. And Diane agrees with this. She's the one who promised it to Savannah months ago. Already picked out new curtains. Click. I saved the recording, backed it up to 3 different cloud services, and emailed it to Elena. Within minutes, Diane called from another unknown number. I answered, recorder running. Renee, honey, let's discuss this reasonably. Of course. Mother, you were saying about my apartment. It's a 2-bedroom. You don't need all that space. Savannah and Tyler can't afford rent right now, and family helps family. I already promised her she could stay there. Without asking me, I shouldn't have to ask. After everything we've done for you, the thousands we spent raising you, that apartment is partial repayment. Repayment. You see my home as repayment for raising me. Don't twist my words. But yes, children owe their parents, especially adopted children who should be grateful. There it was, the card she always played. I wasn't her blood, so I owed them more. Savannah was real family. I was an obligation who should be grateful they kept me after Dad died. So you feel entitled to give away my apartment? I'm your mother. What's yours is mine to distribute as I see fit. I have a key. If you don't cooperate, we'll simply move Savannah in while you're playing this game. Thank you for clarifying. I hung up and immediately called a locksmith company in Westover. I need smart locks installed tomorrow. Saturday. Emergency service. Whatever your rush fee is, I'll pay it. Next, I logged into my laptop and pulled up my security camera app. I'd only installed a doorbell camera last month, but it was better than nothing. I set it to alert me for any motion and downloaded the past week's footage, making sure I had video of my normal coming and going. Elena texted, "These recordings are gold. Filing emergency motion for immediate exclusive possession of property. Temporary restraining order with property surrender clause. Judge Carson is on duty this weekend. She doesn't tolerate this kind of harassment." I texted back, "They're flying in tomorrow on the 2:15 from Charlotte. Rehearsal dinner is at 7 tomorrow night at the Palms restaurant on West Shore." Perfect. Process server will meet them at the airport. My phone buzzed. Savannah, from yet another number. You're ruining my wedding. All I wanted was to borrow your apartment for a few months. Now Roy can't even come to walk me down the aisle because of your drama. I hope you're happy. I didn't respond. Let her think Roy's absence was just about the missed flight. She'd find out about the criminal charges soon enough. Instead, I pulled up my mortgage documents, my employment contracts, my bank statements, every piece of paper that proved Renee Harper was the sole owner of that apartment. I created a folder labeled Evidence and subfoldered everything: ownership, threats, recordings, police reports. Then I opened a new document and started typing my statement for the restraining order hearing. Names, dates, exact quotes. The graduation dinner where Roy told everyone I'd be supporting Savannah financially, since family takes care of family. The Christmas where Diane gave Savannah a key to my apartment for emergencies, without asking me. The pattern of financial manipulation, emotional abuse, and now physical violence. By the time I finished, it was past midnight. Tomorrow was supposed to be about celebrating Savannah's wedding. Instead, it would be about serving legal papers that would bar them from ever entering my home again. I organized my evidence like I was preparing for a loan audit at Brightline Mutual, methodical, thorough, irrefutable. The hotel desk became my workspace. Documents spread in chronological order, each piece building the narrative of escalation. The TPA CLT case folder grew thick. First, the incident report from Charlotte Douglas. Case number 2024-10-18-4782. Officer Martinez's neat handwriting describing visible injury to victim's face. Multiple witness statements corroborating assault. And aggressor removed from terminal for processing. Next, photos from the airport bathroom. Time-stamped 11:47 a.m. through 12:03 p.m. The scratch across my cheekbone progressing from fresh red to purple edges. Roy's handprint on my arm, each finger distinct against my skin. The urgent care visit from Tampa that afternoon added medical documentation. Linear laceration to right cheek, contusion to left upper arm consistent with grip injury. The doctor had been thorough, noting the measurements, taking her own photos, adding them to my electronic health record with the same case number. Then came the audio files. I played each recording once more, transcribing key quotes. Roy, that apartment belongs to this family, and ungrateful daughters don't get to keep family property. Diane, what's yours is mine to distribute as I see fit. The threat about Roy's locksmith cousin, the admission they'd already promised my home to Savannah, the repeated claims that I owed them for raising me. Elena had filed 3 separate motions, an ex parte domestic violence protective order requesting immediate protection without Roy and Diane present, based on credible threat of continued violence and property invasion, a civil no-contact order, 500 feet minimum distance from my person, residence, and workplace, a motion for exclusive possession and property surrender demanding return of all keys, garage door openers, or any other access devices to my apartment. The property documentation filled its own section, deed transfer from closing, showing sole ownership by Renee Harper, 28 months of mortgage payments from my Brightline Mutual checking account, utility bills, HOA fees, property tax all paid by me, only my name on every document. I created a timeline on legal pad paper. 2019, Diane gives Savannah spare key without permission. 2021, Roy states at Thanksgiving I should support Savannah financially. 2023, Diane promises my apartment to Savannah revealed in October 2024. Recording October 17, 2024. Text demanding I house Savannah post-wedding. October 18, 2024. 11:40 a.m. Physical assault at CLT Airport. October 18, 2024. 3 p.m., 11 p.m. Multiple threats to break into property. Change locks. The witness list came next. TSA Agent Williams badge T4429. The mother with 2 children who'd given her statement. The businessman in the Navy suit who'd offered his business card. Marcus Powell, Executive VP at Wells Fargo. Happy to testify about what I saw. My phone buzzed with a notification from my doorbell camera. Motion detected at 2:14 a.m. Eastern Time. I opened the app to see a figure approaching my door, then apparently noticing the camera and retreating. The build looked like Roy's cousin Dennis. I downloaded that footage too, adding it to the folder labeled Attempted Entry. Elena texted, Judge Carson signed the temporary orders. Effective immediately. Process server confirmed for 2:15 arrival at TPA tomorrow. Deputies will accompany to ensure compliance. I pulled up the public records request for Charlotte Douglas. The CCTV footage would take 5 to 7 business days, but I could request expedited processing for ongoing legal proceedings. I filled out the form, noting the exact terminal, gate, and timestamps. Then I opened a new document, Financial Threats and Coercion Pattern. Every time they'd demanded money. The community college tuition they'd claimed I owed them repayment for, despite federal loans in my name. The car they'd sold out from under me at 22, keeping the proceeds because family shares resources. The way they'd tried to claim me as a dependent on taxes until I hired an attorney to stop them. Savannah sent another barrage of texts from various numbers. I screenshotted each one. Mom says you're being vindictive. Tyler's family thinks you're trashy for causing drama before my wedding. When we get back, we're taking that apartment whether you like it or not. That last one was particularly useful. Conspiracy to commit burglary, in writing. By 3 a.m. Tampa time, I had everything organized into a comprehensive case file. Criminal assault documentation, medical evidence property ownership records, recordings proving conspiracy to steal property, pattern of financial abuse, witness statements, current threats of breaking and entering. Elena texted once more. Hearing scheduled for Monday, 9 a.m. Bring everything. We're asking for a 2-year protective order, full property surrender, and restitution for your medical costs, locksmith fees, and legal expenses. They picked the wrong person to assault in public. I closed my laptop and looked out at Tampa Bay, glittering in the darkness. Tomorrow, while Savannah worried about flower arrangements and reception seating, Roy and Diane would be served with papers that would shatter their delusions about owning me or my home. The apartment they'd promised to Savannah would be fortress-locked by the time they returned to Charlotte, and if they came near it, they'd leave in handcuffs. Saturday afternoon at Tampa International Airport, I positioned myself at the Starbucks near baggage claim, perfect view of the escalators from Terminal A. Their flight from Charlotte landed at 2:15 p.m. By 2:35, I watched them descending Diane in her carefully pressed travel outfit, Roy red-faced and agitated, Savannah clinging to Tyler's arm. The process server stood near the rental car counters in a plain polo shirt, looking like any other traveler. Deputy Morrison from Hillsborough County waited by the exit doors, badge visible but not prominent. Roy spotted me first. His face darkened as he stormed over, Diane scrambling to keep up. You have some nerve showing up here. Roy Halpern. The process server stepped smoothly between us. I have legal documents for you. What the hell is this? You're being served with a temporary protective order and civil no-contact order from Mecklenburg County, North Carolina, with full faith and credit enforcement in Florida. Diane's honey voice cracked. This is ridiculous. We're here for our daughter's wedding. Diane Halpern. These are for you as well. The server handed her an identical packet. The orders are effective immediately. You're required to maintain 500 feet distance from Renee Harper at all times. You're also ordered to surrender any keys, garage door openers, or access devices to her property within 24 hours. Savannah pushed forward. You can't do this. The rehearsal dinner is in 3 hours. Deputy Morrison approached. Ma'am, I need you to step back. These are valid court orders. Violation is a criminal offense. I held up my phone, making sure they could see I was recording. Deputy Morrison, they've admitted on recorded calls to planning to break into my apartment and change the locks. My doorbell camera caught someone attempting entry at 2:14 a.m. this morning. Do you believe this person was connected to the respondents? Roy admitted his cousin Dennis is a locksmith who would help them gain entry. Roy lunged forward but stopped when Morrison's hand moved to his radio. That apartment is family property. Sir, according to these documents, you're required to surrender any keys to Ms. Harper's property. Do you have them on you? I don't have to. Yes, you do, Morrison said firmly. The order is clear. Surrender them now or face immediate arrest for contempt. Diane's hands shook as she opened her purse. She pulled out a keyring with 2 keys, my apartment and the mailbox. This is insane. We raised her. Ma'am, place the keys on the ground and step back. She complied, tears starting to smudge her mascara. Savannah was frantically texting, probably trying to find another bridesmaid to handle whatever duties she'd assigned me. There's more, I said, maintaining my distance but ensuring my voice carried. Elena Brooks has filed criminal charges for assault and battery from yesterday's incident at Charlotte Douglas. Roy, there's a warrant waiting when you return to North Carolina. You vindictive— Roy started forward again. Sir, Morrison's voice cut sharp. You're in violation of the protective order. Back away now or you'll be arrested. The rental car area had gone silent, travelers and staff watching the drama unfold. Someone was definitely filming on their phone. Good. More evidence if they tried to claim harassment. Tyler finally spoke up, his voice strained. Come on, let's just go to the hotel. She ruined everything, Savannah screamed. The rehearsal dinner, the wedding. The wedding's tomorrow, I said calmly. I won't be there, obviously. But you should know Elena found out you used my name to get the group rate at the hotel. That's fraud, Savannah. The hotel has been notified. Her face went white. You didn't? Check with the Palms Resort. They'll want a new credit card for the room block. The process server cleared his throat. Mr. and Mrs. Halpern, you're also required to appear at a hearing Monday. 9 a.m. Mecklenburg County Superior Court. Failure to appear will result in the temporary orders becoming permanent by default. Monday. We'll still be here Monday. Diane's voice pitched higher. Then you'll need to arrange travel back or appear by video link. The court information is in your packets. Deputy Morrison picked up the surrendered keys and handed them to me. Ms. Harper, do you feel safe? I have a rental car in a different lot and I'm staying at a different hotel. I've also hired a locksmith to change all my locks today. Good, folks. He addressed Roy and Diane. If I see you within 500 feet of Ms. Harper this weekend, you'll spend it in Hillsborough County Jail. Clear. Roy's face had turned purple, but Tyler was already pulling him toward the rental car shuttles. Diane stood frozen, staring at me with a mixture of rage and disbelief. You destroyed your sister's wedding, she said quietly. No, Mother. You did that when you promised her something that wasn't yours to give. I turned and walked toward the parking garage, hearing Savannah's sobs echoing through the terminal behind me. My phone buzzed with a notification from my new smart lock system installation complete at 4:47 p.m. By the time they made it back to Charlotte, my apartment would be more secure than ever. And if they tried to come near it, the protective orders would ensure they'd leave in handcuffs. Monday morning, 9 a.m. sharp. Courtroom 3B in the Mecklenburg County Superior Court building felt appropriately formal with its dark wood paneling and elevated judge's bench. I sat beside Elena at the plaintiff's table, our evidence binders arranged in precise order. Across the aisle, Roy and Diane huddled with their hastily hired attorney, a nervous young man who kept shuffling through papers. Savannah sat in the gallery's front row, still in her honeymoon clothes from the Tampa flight they'd caught at 6 a.m. Her mascara was already running. All rise, the Honorable Judge Patricia Carson presiding. Judge Carson, a woman in her 60s with sharp eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses, settled into her chair. We're here for Harper v. Halpern, petition for permanent protective orders and property rights clarification. Ms. Brooks. Elena stood smoothly. Your Honor, we're seeking a 2-year protective order against Roy and Diane Halpern, permanent surrender of all property access, and restitution for medical expenses, security upgrades, and legal fees resulting from assault and attempted property theft. I've reviewed the temporary orders. Present your evidence. Elena connected her laptop to the courtroom screen. Exhibit a security footage from Charlotte Douglas International Airport, obtained through FOIA request. The video played in harsh clarity. Roy grabbing my arm. The slap. Diane's ring scraping across my face. the TSA and police intervention. Savannah gasped from the gallery as if seeing it for the first time. Exhibit B medical documentation from urgent care, showing injuries consistent with assault. The photos appeared on screen. The linear scratch. The bruising handprint. Exhibit C recorded admissions of conspiracy to illegally enter and occupy Ms. Harper's property. Why, Roy's voice filled the courtroom. That apartment belongs to this family, and ungrateful daughters don't get to keep family property. Then Diane, I have a key. If you don't cooperate, we'll simply move Savannah in while you're playing this game. Their attorney objected weakly. Those recordings were made without my client's knowledge. North Carolina is a one-party consent state. Judge Carson cut him off. Continue, Ms. Brooks. Exhibit D property documentation proving sole ownership by Renee Harper. The deed appeared on screen. Then 28 months of mortgage payments from my account alone. Exhibit E pattern of financial coercion and abuse. Elena presented the timeline, years of demands for money, attempts to claim me as a dependent, the sale of my car without consent. Your Honor, Elena continued, the respondents genuinely believe they own my client because they raised her. They've promised her property to another daughter and planned to forcibly take possession. This isn't just assault, it's an ongoing campaign of control and attempted theft. The defense attorney stood. Your Honor, this is a family disagreement blown out of proportion. The Halperns took in Ms. Harper after her father's death, raised her as their own counsel. Judge Carson interrupted. Are you arguing that raising a child entitles someone to assault them and steal their property as an adult? No, Your Honor, but… Then what is your argument? He fumbled. That the protective order is excessive for a momentary loss of temper. Judge Carson turned to me. Ms. Harper, would you like to make a statement? I stood holding the printed email Diane had sent Savannah 3 months ago. Your Honor, this email shows my mother promised my apartment to my sister before even telling me. She wrote, Don't worry about housing after the wedding. Renee's place will be yours. She owes us that much for all we've done. I looked directly at Diane. I don't owe them my home for raising me. Parents don't get paid back for doing their legal obligation. And the fact that they see me as a debt to be collected tells you everything about why I need protection. Savannah stood up in the gallery. That apartment should be mine, Mom promised. Young woman, sit down or leave my courtroom, Judge Carson commanded. But it's not fair. She has everything and I just got married. Bailiff, remove her. As Savannah was escorted out, still protesting, Judge Carson reviewed the documents once more. Mr. Halpern, Mrs. Halpern, please stand. They rose, Diane clutching Roy's arm. I'm granting the permanent protective order for 2 years. You are to maintain 1,000 feet distance from Ms. Harper. I'm increasing it from the temporary order due to the severity of the threats. You are permanently barred from her residence and workplace. Any attempt at contact, direct or through third parties, will result in immediate arrest. Roy's face flushed. Your Honor, I'm not finished. You will pay restitution $800 for medical expenses, $3,000 for security upgrades including the emergency locksmith and new smart lock system, and $4,000 in legal fees. Additionally, Mr. Halpern, you have an active warrant for assault. Bailiff. The bailiff stepped toward Roy with handcuffs. Furthermore, Judge Carson continued as Roy was cuffed, any claim to Ms. Harper's property is permanently dissolved. The deed is solely in her name. The mortgage is solely her responsibility, and any verbal promises made by Mrs. Halpern regarding that property are legally void. Diane started sobbing. She's my daughter. No, Mrs. Halpern. She's an autonomous adult who owns her own property and deserves to live free from assault and harassment. This entitled belief that you can take what belongs to her ends today. The gavel came down with finality. As Roy was led away and Diane collapsed in her chair, I walked out of the courtroom with Elena. My phone showed a notification from the smart lock front door secured. No attempted entries in the last 72 hours. My home was finally, completely Legally, mine alone. 3 days after the hearing, 5:23 p.m., I was making dinner in my apartment, my sanctuary that truly felt like mine for the first time when my doorbell camera alerted me to motion. The app showed Roy's car pulling into the visitor parking. My blood didn't even race anymore. I was ready. I opened the smart lock app, confirmed everything was secured, then dialed 911. There's someone at my apartment complex violating a protective order. Case number PCR 2024-4782. Please send deputies immediately to Westover Heights, Building C. Through the camera, I watched Roy exit his car and walk toward my building. He stopped at the entrance, probably realizing his old key fob no longer worked. The property management had deactivated all access codes tied to Diane and Savannah's emergency contact profiles. I didn't engage, didn't speak through the doorbell speaker, just stood in my kitchen, phone ready, watching him pace outside like a caged animal. The deputy arrived in under 4 minutes. Through the camera's audio, I heard every word. "Sir, step away from the building. I need to talk to my daughter. Sir, are you Roy Halpern? Yes, but you're in violation of a protective order filed by Renee Harper. The order states 1,000 feet minimum distance. This is ridiculous. We're family. Sir, turn around and place your hands behind your back." The satisfaction wasn't even vindictive anymore. It was just relief. Pure, simple relief that the law was finally drawing boundaries they'd never respected. My phone rang. Unknown number. I let it go to voicemail, then played it on speaker while recording. Diane's voice, shrill and desperate. "Renee, they're arresting Roy again. This has to stop. Savannah's marriage is already struggling because of the stress you've caused. Tyler's family thinks we're criminals. Please, just let us talk." I saved the voicemail and forwarded it to Elena with a simple note. Third-party contact violation. 20 minutes later, Elena called. "Deputy Morrison confirmed Roy's in custody. Violation of protective order. Plus, he apparently shoved the deputy that's resisting arrest. He's looking at actual jail time now. Diane's voicemail is another violation. Want to pursue charges? Yes, every single time? Good. Also, Savannah posted on Facebook about you. Screenshots coming your way. We can add cyberstalking to the next filing." I pulled up the screenshots. Savannah's public post. "Some family members destroy everything they touch. Can't wait until karma catches up." The comments were a chorus of her friends calling me heartless, selfish, a monster who ruined a wedding over petty jealousy. I didn't care. Let them think what they wanted. They didn't know about the years of financial manipulation, the emotional abuse, the attempted theft of my home. They didn't know about the scratch across my face in an airport or the handprint bruised into my arm. My doorbell camera alerted again. This time it was a Westover Heights maintenance worker with the building manager. I opened the app's speaker. "Hi, can I help you?" "Ms. Harper. This is David from management. We're installing additional security cameras on this floor per your request. Also, we've removed the Halperns from all authorized visitor lists and emergency contacts as instructed by the court order." "Thank you, David." "No problem. We take protective orders seriously here. The sheriff's department also asked us to keep logs of any attempts at entry." "You should know someone tried to convince our weekend staff they were here for emergency maintenance on Saturday. We denied entry and have it on camera." Another attempt. Another piece of evidence. By 7 p.m., my apartment was quiet again. I stood in my kitchen, looking around at the space I'd fought so hard to protect. The quartz countertops gleamed under the pendant lights. My mortgage payment would process in 6 days, like it did every month, from my account alone. The new smart lock showed all secure, no attempts at entry. I pulled out my phone and texted Elena, "Thank you for everything." She replied immediately. "Roy's being held without bail pending a hearing tomorrow. Diane's been served notice about the third-party contact violation. You did everything right. Renee, the paper trail is bulletproof." I poured myself a glass of wine and sat on my couch, in my apartment, protected by my boundaries enforced by law. My phone buzzed one more time. A notification from my credit monitoring service. Alert credit inquiry attempted by unauthorized party. Blocked per your security freeze. They were trying to access my credit, probably to find my account numbers or apply for something in my name. Another crime to add to the pile. I forwarded that too to Elena, then blocked every remaining number I had for extended family. Savannah's friends. Anyone who might be used as a flying monkey. The restraining order was for 2 years, but I knew this was permanent. I'd severed the chains they'd wrapped around me since childhood, the ones made of guilt and family obligation, and you owe us. I didn't owe them anything. Not my home, not my money, not my forgiveness. I raised my wine glass to the empty room, to my father who died when I was 10, who would have been proud that I'd stood up for myself. Outside, the deputy's car was pulling away with Roy in the back, the last time he'd ever come near my home. The doorbell camera's motion sensor went dark. The smart lock stayed secured. I was finally, completely, irreversibly free. Thank you so much for listening to my story. I'd love to know where you're listening from. Please comment below and let's connect. If this story resonated with you, please subscribe to the channel and share your thoughts. Your own experiences and perspectives mean everything to me.